Ajax, Low, Havoc House.
Chasing C Notes podcast.
Chasing C Notes.
The podcast.
And you are.
My name is
Chasing C Notes. Welcome to the jungle. Who wants to smoke? I didn't think so. Use a joke. About to get your ankles broke. Chasing C Notes. Chasing C Notes. Chasing C Notes. Welcome to the jungle. Who wants to smoke? I ain't think so. Use a joke. About to get your ankles broke. Chasing C Notes. Chasing C Notes. Dynasty started in the Boston Garden. NBA Finals, we locked in. Take caution when you see the green.
Welcome to season 2 of Chasing C Notes, the podcast. I'm your co-host Eric, and I'm always joined by my co-host Larry. What's good, Larry?
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
How you all doing, man? And I know we had our first episode where we talked about the over-unders, the East and Winter, but I feel like this is the kickoff for the season. This is the tip-off. And in today's episode, we're going to have, of course, NBA news. We're going to have a roster review. We're going to do our schedule predictions. And then we're going to end it with the power rankings. Larry, how you feel? I know we had a quick recap of the summer, but how you feel about the tip-off? How it's going to be on Tuesday and we're recording it on Sunday night. So how do you feel?
I feel okay. I think it's exciting. First couple of games, everybody's still kind of filling each other out, especially when you have some new rosters. So I think it's going to be okay. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
And we'll definitely talk about the roster because there's some things that we need to discuss. But first, let's do the news. And talking about the roster, Larry, how do you feel about Lonnie Walker being dropped off the team? I mean, is this move financial move? Is it for the team? Like, how do you feel? Do you think that we might lose this guy? How do you feel?
It was surprising they made that move because he did really well. The couple games I've seen, he was doing really well. I'm not quite sure where they would have put him in the rotation, so maybe that was the indicator. We've been trying to get our bench bolstered up, and I thought that was a good piece to put in there. But it just sounds like, maybe he'll play G League. We don't really know as of right now where he's going to be.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because, he's not really G League material. He's definitely NBA material. So does he want to take a step back? How bad does he want to be on the team? I heard there's some rumors that he might play for the main team, but then that's in the G League. So it's like, what's going on with this? It's up in the air. Like, why make a move for Walker and then realize a month, 2 months later that you can't keep him? That's where I'm kind of, it's a head scratcher, but this guy is very, very talented. I'm sure that whoever the scouts for the Celtics were like, we need to grab this guy from Brooklyn. And that's what they did. And now it's almost like a tease, Larry. Like, you show us, I think he was averaging in 20s this summer. And come on, man, this guy got game and you got gonna not keep him on the roster. It's kind of a head scratcher to me. But, how do you think that he'll be a Celtic eventually, or what's your thought on that?
I think if he continues to play games, like I said, he does play some G League games, and people start seeing him play. Someone's gonna pick him up. I just think that it's better to keep him on the bench and hold on to him when you may need him, than to let him play games and people say, you know what, maybe we can take this guy. It's just. When I first seen it, I thought, okay, why would they free up a roster spot? Maybe they're looking for somebody else I don't know about. But right now, we're still kind of in the dark to find out what they're going to do.
Yeah, and I got excited because I thought when they got Malcolm 2 years ago and he was coming out the bench, he was like an automatic scorer. I felt like, yes, I'm not going to be... The Celtics won the championship, so I'm not going to be you know, I'm not gonna be rotten about it. But when they got Lonnie Walker, I was like, oh, he's there to fill the Michael Brogdon slot, right? He just come off the bench and just start scoring points, and now we're gonna lose that. I don't know. I'm hoping that he doesn't make a move to another team, but let's leave it at that. The other set of news, Larry, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are not ready. Are you surprised? Is this gonna hurt the Phillies and the Clippers? What's your expectation? Are you shocked? What do you think about that?
No shock. And I heard that also. The Embiid is kind of day to day right now, so not quite shocked right now. It's still kind of early on, and you really want to, get more playing time from your bench and other players at this point. So sometimes it's good to have your starters kind of sit down and see what you're made of, early on when teams are not really gelled and together. But I think injuries are going to play a big part in this year, like they do every year, and it's all about conditioning.
Yeah, it's all about conditioning. It's not really a shock that Kawhi Leonard, they let him go in the Olympics because he was hurt, and surprise, he's still hurt. Paul George, he was the big sign up during the summer, and now he's not ready. So these teams, they want to make a splash, but they're not doing it right. You have to do it through the draft, right? Like picking up an older player just because he's going to make a splash. I don't think that's the way to do it. But I can't fault them. If they were available, they were available. But Kawhi Leonard, I even saw Perkins say that he needs to retire, which is, I don't know if I go that far, but we're talking about Perkins, so who knows. Let's just get into it. Let's go into the roster review and let's talk about these defending champions, Boston Celtics, banner 18, which I'm very glad that the Knicks are going to be present when that banner is raised, but we'll talk about that when it comes. So let's talk about the point guards on the team, Larry. What grade did you give the point guards?
I actually gave A's. I think point guards are a big piece of why we won the Olympics and why we won the championship. They play so well together, and it's just huge to have them together. So yeah, I gave them A's.
Do you think that Peyton Pritchard is gonna actually make the leap? Because I feel like he's not there yet. I don't know. I know he's obviously gonna not have the same minutes that he had last year, but because I know that Drew Holiday and Derek White are gonna be there, but do you think Pritchard actually makes the jump? Where last year he was kind of like hit or miss. He would go on these streaks where he was like lights out, and then he would not. So what's your thought on the whole Pritchard? Because this during the preseason he looked phenomenal, but what do you think?
Pritchard is a guy who needs minutes to play well. We saw what happened when they took his minutes, a couple years back, and he was non-existent. And then I remember Marcus Smart saying, "You'll have your time. You have your time." And we were just like, where was this guy that was playing so well? What happened to him? And then we gave him some minutes. He started to gel a little bit, but he's a rhythm guy. He needs to play a lot of minutes. When he plays a lot of minutes, he'll score 50 points. If he doesn't play any minutes, he may get a couple of rebounds, but that's it. He needs time. And if they take minutes from him, it's going to be disastrous for him.
Because this is my train of thought, Larry. It's like you have Drew Holiday, he's 34 years old. You have Derek White, he's 30 years old. And then you have Peyton, which he's 26, about to be 27. Why not just let him ball out? I know he's coming off the bench because of the starters, but why not let him ball out? Like, what's your hesitation here? Do you think that he's not ready? Do you not trust him? Why do you think that the coaches kind of like are restricting his time, or do you even think that he's being restricted?
I mean, I don't really think the coach really believes he's a piece. I think it was when Marcus Smart left, something opened up, and so he played those minutes. But I think the coach would rather have someone like Lonnie Walker play. And it's surprising that that if he doesn't get a lot of minutes this year, he's going to get upset like he's done in the past, and he may ask for a trade or something like that. It's just very strange that he hasn't, like I said, is he at his plateau? And I think that's what we need to know: is can he excel even better than what he has? Can he be more than just a last minute shot maker? Can he come in there and do what he does when he runs with the second unit with the starters?
Yeah, I agree. I think that during the playoff, they used him almost like as a gimmick player. He didn't get the minutes that I thought he would, but it was a playoff, so you have to show on your rotation, right? So, anyways, long story short, I also gave them an A because I feel like if you're gonna run it back with the same team, your point guards are, existential. Let's talk about the shooting guards, Larry. What grade did you give them?
I gave them an A as well. I think are on point. I mean, everyone on the court can hit threes. We're just good shooters, and I think that we look for the best. So even though it is still a three, I think we pass the ball around, and when we pass the ball around, we don't play that one-on-one ball. We do play pretty well, and we do get the best shot. But our point guards are A, our shooting guards are A. I think we're good in the guard section.
Yeah, I also gave them an A because, I mean, as long as you have Jaylen Brown on the team, why would you worry unless there's some kind of injury? But he can shoot a three, he can go inside. He's still working on his handle, but it's improving year after year. And then you have Sam Hauser, which he can be a shooting forward, a small forward, but let's be honest, he's a shooting guard. And when you talk about the three, this team is made for the three-pointer. I do want to see some more J.D. Davidson. He almost only comes in exclusively as a mop-up duties, but I kind of want to see more of him. How do you feel about Davidson, Larry?
Chill out on Davidson and a lot of the other guys on our bench. Hopefully we can get a good gel together and get some blowout wins so we can see the bench, play some more impact minutes when it counts, not just in preseason and everything else. I really think that we need to see, do we have the bench? Do we have what it takes? The bench numbers are kind of like last in the playoffs because KP was coming in. She was kind of like, we couldn't really use those numbers, And I think that we still need help with our bench. I think we really didn't make that many roster moves, and the one that we did make, it faltered. So I just still think our bench is not proven yet, and we need to have that strong bench because you can't put all the pressure on the starters to score, even though they were scoring like very high numbers last season early on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about our starters. Well, except for maybe Horford and Porzingis, because again, up there in age and injuries, but everyone else is pretty good. But I want the bench. Like, I want Walsh to get more minutes. I want Springer to get more minutes. I know they picked up. I can't pronounce his name. Truman from Creighton.
Yeah.
Truman, yeah, and he so far he looks pretty good. So maybe get some playing time as well. I want that bench to keep growing, keep stacking the minutes. So I want that bench to grow. But yeah, I give them an A too because we're talking about Jaylen Brown here. Small forward, what grade did you give them?
Small forward, we always been great with small forward because just we had so much length. So I gave them an A as well.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about small forward, I mean, Jason Tatum, I know that he kind of took a step back on points, and people were, for some reason, the national media was like, hey, this guy doesn't have it because he's not scoring 30 points a night, but he was rebounding, he was assisting, and then when he came out the game, then you had like people like Walsh in the game, and Walsh can rebound and block, so maybe not like a consistent scorer like Tatum, but I think he's got a lot of potential. So I'm not worried about Tatum at all. I think that he's gonna continue doing his thing. This is gonna be an A. And now, the way they did him in the Olympics, I mean, are you angry what happened in the Olympics, or are you just like, well, he wasn't shooting well, so I can see why he sat down?
I felt like overall Tatum had an off year. It was very strange. And it actually helped us in a way because he had an off year. Because he did, pass more, rebound more, defend more. I don't know how this year. I hope that we still come out more Brown Tatum than Tatum Brown, because I think it does make us a better team. But it's amazing how, to me, Tatum took a step back, but we were a better team.
Yeah, and not only that, but it was like a team effort. It was weird. Like I wouldn't put Jaylen Brown in any other team, and I wouldn't put Tatum in any other team. I think that they work as a tandem perfect. And there was times where they were trying to break the two, and I was just like, why would you do that? Why would you break this tandem? I know, it's just craziness. Let's talk about the power forward position. Larry, what grade did you give them?
I gave this one a B, and that's only because it's hard to differentiate who they actually list as a power forward and who they actually use as a power forward. And if you look at this roster, they'll sometimes list Tatum as a power forward. They'll list Walsh as a power forward. They actually list Hauser as a power forward. So what they list and how we actually use them. And I did the same thing when we got to the centers as well, because I think we kind of like go back and forth. Like you may have him as a power forward or center. So I kind of put both power forward and center as a B. I still feel like we're missing something there. We're close. B is still pretty good, but I still feel like we're missing something. I don't know. I just feel like we need a banger, a little more muscle, something, something that we think maybe Tillman might bring. I think that's really what we're missing.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I think that Tillman is kind of like the bad guy on the team, but not bad as in like he's a terrible shooter. I'm saying like when he comes in the game, you have to fear. There's a little bit of fear, right? Because you're not sure how tough, how dangerous he is in basketball terms. So I want to see more of that. I think that a lot of teams kind of mistook the Celtics as being soft, but to me, it wasn't that they were soft. It was just that they were just so efficient in like shooting the ball and like passing and like, fast breaks. Except for the turnovers from Jaylen Brown, and he definitely lower though this year. I just felt like we don't have that toughness except for Tillman. I don't know. Maybe maybe when that rookie from Creighton comes in, maybe we have a little bit of toughness. I don't know. Maybe when Walsh comes in, we have a little bit of toughness. But you're right in saying that we don't really have like a true power forward on the team. We just have a bunch of guys that can shoot the threes, but they can also rebound. But they're not like considered shot blockers. They're not like power forwards on other teams or the way we used to think of it. So I went with a B with the power forwards because it's hard with this team to kind of set roles, right? So I went with the power forward. What about centers, Larry? What grade did you give the center?
Same thing as power forward. I gave centers a B. And that's just the same exact reason. Just let's see how they use them. Last year I was a little questionable how KP was going to do because we lost so much at center the previous year, and he did really well. He fit in really well. His defense was great. I feel like Tatum and Brown stepped up defensively. So we didn't miss the Marcus Smart. We didn't miss that, and I think that was crucial.
I actually gave the centers a C, and the only reason why I gave them a C is because of the age and the injuries. Because the thing is coming back in December or November. Do we have a date when he's scheduled to come back?
I'll talk more about that later, but I think he's not going to come back to January.
Okay, so January.
I think they look at the record. I think we're going to actually play pretty well in the first half. So they're just going to rest him, and when he comes back in January, I think he'll be more than enough rested. But I think it might throw off our chemistry a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm kind of not concerned. I just want to see Porzingis get in shape and play in shape. So I went with a C. And Horford, I know he's 38. He's getting up there in age. I know that he takes care of himself, but I just see like at the beginning of the year, him getting rested, and like players like Keta getting a lot of playing time. So I just see them kind of like playing small ball, so to speak, and then kind of ramping things up. Until I see them like actually like have all their starters together, mesh together, I don't think that Al Horford is a true center, but we'll see. We'll see what his average is as far as rebounds as the season goes on. But I wasn't like 100% secure in the center position for this team. That's why I went with C. Larry, what did you give the bench?
I gave a C, and it's because I don't know who the bench is. We didn't really make any additions. So we waived Lonnie Walker. We got rid of Ron Harper, Jay Scrub, and I think it was Hasten Ward. So we're back to the same bench we had before, and it just other than the rookies that came in, I still need to see them prove themselves and see how they go up against other benches. So I gave them a C.
Yeah, I gave them a C as well because, as you mentioned, we have that rookie Drew Peterson, and we have the guy out of Creighton. He's Sherman. I'm sure I'm butchering his last name. And then we have Springer coming off the bench, and then we have Walsh, Tillman. So Cornette, Hauser. Even though Hauser, I feel like he's gonna make a jump this year. I want to see this bench produce, and I think that there were times where they came in and all of a sudden they were up by 20 and then we're up by 10. So they didn't really kept that momentum when they came in. And I know that when you talk about the bench versus the starters, you're gonna have some drop off. But I didn't like such a big drop off during the season. So I'm gonna keep an eye on the bench because I want them to like, especially the rookies. I want them to like know their place on the team, right? So,
Yes.
so I give them a C. Could have easily been a D, but this is the champs we're talking about, so I went with a C. Larry, where are you with the coaches? What grade did you give them?
The coaches surprised me last year. A lot of close games we won. We did really well in the playoffs, so I gave them an A. And like I said, I think at this point they gotten grace because they won the championship, and until they make a blunder or make a mistake in a close game or maybe in the in-season tournament, something like that, we'll make some changes. But I think they're right now, I'll keep them at an A.
So is Joe Mazzulla, in your opinion, is he ready for a statue or like, do you fully trust him now, or do you think that he's still got ways to go as far as learning the game?
I mean, he's catching up to like a Casey Jones, but he's not red. He's not anywhere close to all the other great coaches that we had. I wouldn't even put him ahead of Doc at this point. I think if he wins 2 championships, then you have to almost leapfrog him over Doc Rivers, and then put him in the conversation with some of the other greats that we've had.
Yeah, I mean, right now I gave them an A because I like Joe, and even though he's quirky and press conferences, you don't really know what directions he's gonna take, but I like him overall as a coach. I know he's young, so he's still kind of learning on the job, but I think that the team likes him, and that's all that matters, right? Who cares about the outside world as long as the team jumps when you say, the team goes high when you say jump. I think he has a team on the palm of his hand. So I like Joe, and I think Joe is gonna do well this year. He definitely made a leap from holding on to timeouts to like taking on timeouts when he needed to. I like his improvement, and I think he's gonna keep going. So Larry, overall, what grade did you give this team?
Overall, they got an A. Again, coming off a championship, win. We're going to hang the banner, give out rings in a few days. I'm concerned. We'll probably that later. It's sometimes that's a high that you kind of may mess up and lose the game. But I think they deserve that A.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you 100%. I think they deserve an A. The fact that they're bringing everyone back, I think I'm not mad at that, because if it worked, why fix it, right? Why tinker? If it ain't broken, why fix it? So I like the fact that they're bringing the same team back, and they drafted some good rookies. So I'm actually high on the team. I think Brad Stevens is doing a great job. Let's talk about schedule predictions, Larry, and let's go month by month. October, they have 5 games on the slate. What record did you give them?
I gave them 4-1. I have them losing the opener, and I just think Knicks have something to prove. They want to play spoiler. Celtics going to be on a high, and I think their fingers are going to be swollen from those rings. So I gave 4-1. I feel like they're gonna learn from that first game, and they're gonna sweep the rest of October, and which will be good because that's like Milwaukee's in there and Indiana's in there, so that'd be good for them to get that.
Yeah, I mean they only have 2 games in October, but I think they're gonna go 5-0. I gave them a 5-0 start for October. When we talk about the schedule for October, the only hard teams that I saw was the Knicks, Milwaukee, and I guess if you want to include Indiana, but who knows what they're gonna do. But I think that they can beat Washington. I think they can beat Detroit, and the home opener is gonna be. There's gonna be so much adrenaline being pumped into that arena. I can't wait till Tuesday night. So 4-1 for you, 5-0 for me. Larry, what did you give them for November? Because November they have. Let me just quickly look how many games. 14 games in November. So what's your record, Larry?
I gave them 12-2. I think they're going to win based off of efficiency. I think that's when they're going to win a lot of games. Their shooting efficiency. Obviously, they take more threes than anybody. I think that's why they're going to win a lot of games. Threes worth more than two. Simple math. That's from a math teacher.
Listen, I agree with you. I think they're going to go 12-2. I think that I know this. I included some. They have some back-to-back games. They only have 2 for the month of November, but I mean, except for the Los Angeles Lakers, it's not really any tough, what I would consider tough games. I mean, they got Milwaukee in there somehow, and then they got the other tough game is Minnesota, but then I feel like all the other games are basically winnable, right?
Yes.
I think that they're going to be up for Minnesota, and then they have a back-to-back game against the Lakers, and I think they're just going to be running on empty. So I expect them to lose that game. That's the only reason why I think they're going to go 12-2. So we both agree that they're going to go 12-2. Larry, what you got for December? Because December, let me just look at the slate real quick. They have 12 games plus whatever games they win in the in-season tournament. I don't know what they call it now. Do they have a sponsor yet, or is it just NBA in-season tournament?
We'll see. I think I hope they don't do those courts like they did before.
Oh yeah, I think this coming. those bright colors are coming, Larry.
Yeah. I had in 10-2, which is still respectable. So they lost a few games at home. They lost a few games in a row, but they're still leading the pack at 10-2. They have some challenges. Yeah, you got Miami, you got Milwaukee, you got Philly. Though we don't know how strong or if everyone's going to be on the team at that point. And again, I still don't believe KP's coming back in December. I still have him slated for January. I just feel like they're just going to, just kind of baby him and nurse him because they know when they really need him, and it's not December.
Yeah, I went with the 8-4, which looking back, I know it was kind of rough, but then I was like, they have a lot. They have same thing as last month. They have 2 back-to-back games, but then they have a lot of home games. I think they only played 4 games on the road, and then the rest are home games. And I think, yeah, they lose a couple of those road games, but we're talking about Memphis, which I gave them a loss. I think Memphis is going to be really strong. And then Orlando plays hard at home. And people, I don't know what their Orlando record at home, but I know that people show up. I seen it with my own eyes. People show up. So I gave them an L. I think that they're going to go 8-4, but it's just setting up the table for January. In January, they have 16 games. Larry, what record do you predict?
I gave them 11-5. I think I actually have them starting off with a losing streak because I feel that's when KP's coming back at the wrong time because they have OKC in Minnesota. So I have them losing 4 games, but I see them bouncing back from that and going back on another streak and ended up 11-5. So I think at that point, the Celtics are going to have a target on their back, not just because they're the champions, but because they have a really good record and nobody wants them to break a record. So I think a lot of teams are going to start coming at them.
Yeah, I went 11-5 as well. I think that with January, they're going to go on there annual West Coast swing. You know, they're going to start out with Minnesota, Houston, OKC, Denver. That's a murderer's row right there. I think they come out, 2-4. You have them going 0 for 4. I don't know if Denver is as strong as they were a couple of years ago. That's why I think that they're going to win that one. But same thing, they're just so strong at home. I give them a lot of wins at home and more losses on the road. I mean, they got Golden State on the road. They got the Lakers on a back-to-back on the road. And then they got Dallas on the road. So I give them an L, but we don't know, right? Maybe some injuries in there from the other teams. We don't know, but I think 11-5 is about right. Larry, February comes. I know the All-Star break is there, but they're going to have a total of 11 games. Larry, what's your prediction?
Now, I just feel like with the a lot of players on our team are going to make the All-Star, and I think they're going to be focused on that. I have them at 5-6. I just think it's February, and I think everyone's going to be questioning the Celtics at this point. They will bounce back from it, but I just think there's going to be a lot of games that drop. I think Philly's going to finally catch our number. Cleveland, we will win the game against Dallas because we lost one already with them. The Knicks may get us again. I have Miami getting us. I have San Antonio getting us, so that would be a great game for San Antonio. But I just have it at 5-6. The Celtics will bounce back from it, and they'll win the next 4 games, and then they'll have a strong March.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you that they'll come out of the All-Star break and just kick some butt. But I also have them winning because they have such a up and down January. I have them winning in February, especially on the road. I know they got Philly, they got Cleveland on the road. I think from last month they get back and they got Dallas at home, so I think they win that one. So we both gave Miami L's. We just don't know. Miami's such a hard team to figure out because they could be sleeping giants and then all of a sudden they're good. I don't know with the Miami, but I think that then they close February with Toronto, Detroit, Cleveland. Cleveland is not so bad, but Toronto and Detroit, we did the over and unders a couple weeks ago, and we don't think that those are good teams. So I see them having a strong February. Then we go into March, Larry, where they're gonna have 15 games. So Larry, what's your prediction?
I just still think, after going 5-6 in February, they have a locker room talk and the Celtics just start balling out. It's getting too close to the playoffs now. I have them going 15-0 in March and just sweeping the entire slate and showing that they are still the champions. There's really not too many people who can question that, except for maybe there's a Denver, there's a Philly, and there's an OKC. But other than that, it's not really a tough schedule in March.
Yeah, I mean 15-0 that's a proper March. I think that I give them a 12-3 record. They have a 7-game homestand, which you and I both gave them all victories. So I'm kind of in agreement. I think that home cooking is going to work. It doesn't matter who they play. I know OKC is in that stand. Philly, Denver is in that stand. And then they finished the month on another West Coast road trip. But then they're not really facing any powerhouses. You got Utah, Portland, San Antonio is in there. I do see them losing to Phoenix and Memphis. So I gave them 3 losses, and then I do see them losing to Miami. But I like where you're going, Larry. I like the 15-0 mentality. Just whatever happens in April, this is a time to lock the number 1 seed, right? So that's what's going to happen in it. So April is a short month. They only play, I think, let me just take a look. They only play 7 games. So Larry, what's your prediction?
Again, I still think they're going to carry on from a heavy March, and they're going to go 7-0, which will make it 22-0 for the last 2 months. Very close to breaking LA's record. They'll have to wait till the previous year to break it. Most wins in a season.
What is it? 33, right? 33?
33. Yeah, 33. They'll be pretty. I think they'll be at 26. They'll be pretty close. But I think they're going to be pretty strong. Again, remember now KP has been back for a while, so they have a good flow and chemistry. Again, barring injuries, they should knock it out. Playing Charlotte back to back, not going to be easy. Not going to be hard for them. Found the Orlando hump. Actually winning against New York now, and then you have Miami, Phoenix, and Washington. Not really any competition for them.
Yeah, I went with the 6-1 record. I think they have, out of the 7 games, 5 of them are at home. Again, that Orlando crowd, it gets hyped. That's why I give them the 1 loss for April, but easy 7-0 start. Easy 7-0 April. But again, I just living here in Orlando, I feel like Orlando has a strong team, especially in the weak Eastern Conference. Considering that it's so weak, they have a strong team. So Larry, overall, what's your record for this team? Your prediction overall?
Overall, with that bounce back, they're only going to lose 16 games. It'll be 63. So those are including, I think that's including possible end-season game. But yeah, I just have them, losing 16 games, winning 63. So that's pretty solid. That's only 79. And I think there's 82 games that they have to play. And there's also 1 extra game if you get to the championship for the end season. So they should end up playing like 83, I think. I think they're going to play the championship game this year. I don't know if they're going to win, but I think they're going to actually get over that hump that they didn't get through with Indiana last year and get a chance to play whoever comes out of the West.
So what do you think their home record is going to be?
Home record, I got 31-6. And road record, I have 32-10.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is a 60-plus team, similar to last year. I got them going 62-17. I got them going 34-3 at home. I think they're gonna protect the home court. Last year they did it. The year before they did not, and they ended up losing some of those home games. I think this year that it's going to be a lot stronger, especially for the bench. They seem to play better at home. They get more minutes at home. I got them going 28-14 on the road. A lot of those back-to-back games are on the road. So it's almost like the NBA saying, I know you're strong at home, but on the road, we're going to test you. So it is what it is. I don't have any complaints. Keep them on the road. Fine. You get to sleep in a fancy hotel room. I don't know how it works, but it is what it is. Larry, let's talk about awards for this team, Larry. Who's your team MVP for this team for this coming year?
I just came from what we just did last year. I had Jay Brown as my team MVP. I also have my defensive player. What about you for MVP?
Team MVP. It was gonna be Brown. It's gonna be Tatum, but I went with Brown. I think he's gonna carry the Finals MVP into this season. I know it's hard to say who's the alpha dog on this team, but I really like where Brown is going, and I really like the fact that he's kind of establishing, without even saying it, that he's a top dog. So listen, you can go back and forth between him and Tatum. I think Brown is a top dog. And for a defensive player, I actually gave it to someone that's a non-starter. I think Springer has potential to be a lockdown defender. So I gave him, he's probably not going to get the stats, but I gave him the defensive player. Larry, who is the most improved player for you?
I'm actually going with Jason Tatum. I think in the second half, he's going to spur that winning streak that we're going to have, and he's going to be back to what we know as Tatum, and he's going to push us through. And I'm going to say he's going to be most improved. I just think he always comes up with something new every year to add to his game, and I think that's going to be huge. And then I think it's going to be another battle over who's the best player again, because Tatum's going to emerge as this alpha dog once again.
Yeah, I went with another non-starter. I went with Hauser. I think he got an extension, right? I think he's going to be better. I don't know how. I know his defense was top notch, especially in the playoffs, but I want to see more shooting. I want to see him coming off the bench, and I don't know if he's going to take that Peyton position as a scorer, but I just want to see him light the scoreboard up. Like, I want to see him just start making those threes. I know he was kind of like a streaky shooter. He almost broke the record. I think it was against Atlanta, where he had all those bunch of threes. I want to see him improve. That's why I have him as most improved player. Who is going to get the six-man award, Larry?
Ooh, I mean, that was tough, but I went with Pritchard, and I say, well, if he doesn't get it, then he's not getting his minutes, you know? So I'm hoping that he gets his minutes, and then he'll be able to be the strongest six man on our team. And that's who I went with. I went with Pritchard.
I actually went with Tillman. I know usually the six man goes to whoever is the scorer off the bench. Hauser, Pritchard. I don't want to see that. I want to see Tillman come in off the bench and just grab rebounds, get blocks, throw himself on the parquet. Like, I really miss Marcus Smart when he was a dog, right? I want to see that from Tillman. I want to see him just make smart basketball moves, right? Make smart basketball plays. So I really want Tillman to be that sixth man on this team. He might not get the award per se, but I want to see him come off the bench and just start making plays, hustle plays. So that's why I went with Tillman. Larry, who's in your power ranking?
Again, it's pretty much the same as we talked last week. Celtics are number one. Right now, my power rankings, not much has changed until we actually get on the parquet floor and start running it back. So I have them as my number one team. Yeah,
I agree. Listen, it's the tip off is in what, 72 hours, 48 hours. I went with Boston as well for my power rankings, and I don't want to go over every team because it's unchanged from when we last talked about it. But listen, until someone knocks Boston off the pedestal, they're still not going to be number one. This is the defending champions. We're going to get the rings on Tuesday. So yeah. So until that happens, Boston is number one. Before we end this episode, Larry, what do you have to say to the Boston fans out there?
Get ready for a great season. I feel like, again, barring injuries, that we're going to have a strong season like we did last. Not really any surprises in the NBA. So I think we still can go toe-to-toe with any team. and just get ready to see some winning basketball.
100%. This is why I'm so high on Joe Mazzulla, because he actually works within the system, and then he has players that work. Not only Joe Mazzulla, but Brad Stevens. I like this, and I'm not too worried about this sell of the team. I know that there's a lot of talks out there that who's the highest bidder, blah blah blah. As long as the core doesn't change, the coaches don't change. Yes, there's going to be a lot of changes with the administration, but I don't want anyone to panic. If you're a Boston Celtics fan, don't panic. Things are going to change for the better.
Right.
We might actually get our own arena, for crying out loud, because that's not even our arena. That's the Bruins arena. We just lease it. So I don't know. There's potential there, but we are talking about Boston. So where would they build it? There's no space. There's literally no space. So we're going to end this episode 15. We're going to have the tip off on Tuesday. We're going to get our championship rings. And Larry, next time we meet, it's going to be episode 16. It's going to be sometime in November. We're going to have the NBA news. We're going to have our schedule predictions. We're going to have a power rankings, etc. So I'm excited. I can't wait for this season to begin. Larry, I can't wait.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's do it. So with that being said, I say peace.
Peace. Thanks for listening to Chasing C Notes podcast. Please be sure to listen to our other episodes. And if you want to contact us, please email us at simsportsmedia@gmail.com.